Devaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudriyat Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevayam Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtake. So continuing with the discussion on Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, Chapter 7, Lord Chaitanya in 5 features, text 114 onwards. तार दोष नाही ते हो आज्ञाकारी दास आरज यीशु ने तार है सर्वनाश. Shankaracharya, who is an incarnation of Lord Shiva, is faultless because he is a servant carrying out the orders of the Lord. But those who follow his Mayavadi philosophy are doomed. They all lose all their advancement in spiritual knowledge. Now, this is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna himself saying that. Mayavadi philosophers are very proud of exhibiting the Vedanta knowledge through grammatical jugglery. But in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Shri Krishna certifies that they are Mayaya Pritagyana, bereft of real knowledge due to Maya. Maya has two potencies with which to execute her two functions. The Prekshapatmika Shakti, the power to throw the living entity into the ocean of material existence, and Avarana Atmika Shakti, the power to cover the knowledge of the living entity. So one power to cover the knowledge, second to throw him into the ocean of material existence, into Bhavsagar. The function of Avaranatmika Shakti is explained in Bhagavad Gita by the word Mayaya Aparitagyana. So with that Shakti, she covers his real knowledge that I'm servant of Krishna. Why the Devi Maya, or the illusory energy of Krishna, takes away the knowledge of the Mayavadi philosophers is also explained in Bhagavad Gita by the use of the words Asuram Bhavam Ashrita, which refers to a person who does not agree to the existence of the Lord. Very bold statement by Prabhupada, but actually why Krishna? It says Asuram Bhavam Ashrita. Now the Mayavadis, the sannyasis, and do so much, and they will say, do you think we are asuris? They will fight with you. If you say, you are asuram bhavam ashrita. Asuram doesn't mean rakshas. All it means is those who are not devotees of the Lord. They're asuris, they're demoniac. And this is asuram bhavam, means their bhav is asuri. They are human beings, but their bhav is asuri. Asura, same, simple thing. Like in 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains divine and demoniac natures. So either we are divine or we are demoniac. So we all have that demoniac natures. We are trying to become devotees. And demoniac means want to enjoy separately from Krishna. Simple as that, in simple words. The Mayavadis who are not in agreement with the existence of the Lord can be classified into two groups, exemplified by the impersonalist Shankarites of Varanasi and the Buddhists of Saranath. Both groups are Mayavadis, and Krishna takes away their knowledge due to their atheistic philosophy. Now Buddhists also, because they don't believe in the form of the Lord. Forget about engaging in the devotion service. Now, when we go to Buddhist temple, they have a beautiful deity of Lord Buddha, and they do so much of meditation and worship according to their. Yeah, that is all fine, but if you don't believe in Krishna or any form of Vishnu, any Vishnu Tattva, then what's the point? Then you're not doing devotional service. It's a very heavy and strange thing when we sing, oh, Buddhists are very nice people, very quiet, very shant. From that point, yes. But from Krishna's point of view, it's different. Same thing about, although they serve very nicely and all the stuff, Sikhs, what do they believe in? They don't believe in the form of the Lord. So, what do we say? Same thing, Islam. They don't believe in the form of the Lord. Christians, Jews, that is, or then it comes to atheists and who don't even believe in anything. That is about 99% of the population. That's a huge chunk. But this is how Krishna has explained. Asaram bhavam ashita. Those who don't take shelter of me. Both groups are Mayavadis, and Krishna takes away their knowledge due to their atheistic philosophies. Neither group agrees to accept the existence of a personal God. Buddhist philosophers clearly deny both the soul and God, because they say, and ultimately everything is void. And although the Shankarites do not openly deny God, they say that the absolute is Nirakar or formless. Thus, both the Buddhists and Shankarites are Avishuddha Buddhaya. Avishuddha. Avishuddha means their dirty consciousness or imperfect and unclean in their knowledge and intelligence. The most prominent Mayavadi scholar, Sadananda Yogindra, has written a book called Vedanta Sar, in which he expounds the philosophy of Shankaracharya, and all the followers of Shankara's philosophy attribute great importance to his statements. Sadananda Yogindra. In this Vedanta Sar, Sadananda Yogindra defines Brahman as Satchitananda combined with knowledge and without duality. And he defines ignorance, Jada, as knowledge distinct from that of Sat and Asat. This is almost inconceivable, but it's a product of the three modes of three material qualities. Thus, he considers anything other than pure knowledge to be material. The center of ignorance is considered to be sometimes all-pervading and sometimes individual. Thus, according to his opinion, both the all-pervading Vishnu and the individual living entities are products of ignorance. So why he calls Vishnu as product of ignorance? For them, ultimate is Brahmjyoti. And then they say something happens in Brahmjyoti. What something, we cannot explain. Something happens, and then Krishna comes, Krishna appears and performs his activities. They don't call it pastimes, activities to attract us to ultimately merge in Brahmjyoti. What is that thing that happens in Brahmjyoti and Krishna appears, when it happens, how it happens, they cannot explain. Or I'm sure they'll explain it, which is beyond anybody's comprehension. Nobody can understand, because they themselves don't understand. In simple language, it's the opinion of Sadananda Yogindra that since everything is Nirakara, formless, the conception of Vishnu and the conception of the individual soul are both products of ignorance. He also explains that the Vishuddha Sattva conception of the Vaishnavas is nothing but pradhan, or the chief principle of creation. But Bhagavatam doesn't say that. However, Vishuddha Sattva means beyond the material modes, spiritual, but they don't believe in it. He maintains that when the all-pervading knowledge is contaminated by the Vishuddha Sattva, which consists of a transformation of the quality of goodness, there arises the conception of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is omnipotent, omniscient, supreme ruler, the super soul, the cause of all causes, the supreme Ishvara, etc. So when the all-pervading knowledge, so where this all-pervading knowledge comes from, that is Brahmajyoti for them, is contaminated by Vishuddha Sattva. No, Vishuddha Sattva is Vishuddha, means completely pure, no tinge of anything material, but this is not what they believe in. And how it gets contaminated by Vishuddha Sattva, when it gets contaminated, they cannot answer this. So when it happens, then it gives rise to then Supreme Personality of Godhead, as we know of, comes into existence. According to Sadananda Yogindra, because Ishvara, the Supreme Lord, is a reservoir of all ignorance, he may be called Sarvagya or omniscient. But one who denies the existence of the omnipotent Supreme Personality of Godhead is more than Ishvara, or the Lord. His conclusion, therefore, is that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Ishvara, is a transformation of material ignorance, and that the living entity, Jiva, is covered by ignorance. So, for them, everybody is in ignorance. Thus, he describes both collective and individual existence in darkness. According to Mayavadi philosophers, the Vaishnava conception of the Lord as the Supreme Personality of Godhead and of the Jiva or individual soul as his eternal servant is a manifestation of ignorance. If we accept the judgment of Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, however, the Mayavadis are to be considered Mayaya Pritagyan, or bereft of all knowledge, because they do not recognize the existence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or they claim that his existence is a product of a material conception, Maya. So these are characteristics of asuras or demons. See, and when I hope we never get a chance to even listen to these Mayavadi scholars, but if we do listen any time, some reason we have to sit down, then just listen to their words. What they say just does not make sense at all. But they pass down as, oh, big scholars and acharyas and this and that. Chinmaya Mission, same thing. Brahma Kumaris. Now, listen to Shivani Didi. Wonderful preacher, wonderful. And if you listen to her, what I have analyzed, she talks about doing the activities in the mode of goodness in different various psychological terms she uses, and gives nice examples to do activities in the mode of goodness, forgiveness and this and that, which are wonderful. Now, how to come to that goodness part? So that is where they say do Raja Yoga. So Raja Yoga is basically, they say, meditate on that point of light. So early morning, they all sit down in that dark room and they meditate on that light. But then what's the aim? Aim cannot be just a meditation on light or to act in goodness. Aim has to go beyond. And that beyond is merging into the Brahmajyoti. That's all, because they're meditating on light. So meditating on light means ultimately we want to be light. So that's where the problem comes in. So then if you talk to them about Krishna or anything else, then they don't have answers. Or they have whatever they know. And then they don't refer to Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam because these are the authentic Vedic scriptures. So they have their own books they follow. And if we ask them, so okay, everything is fine, great, wonderful. So what, because the Brahma Kumaris started in, I think, 1939 or so. I'm forgetting their founder's name, Baba, they call him Baba. So what happened before that, 1939? Nobody knew how to get perfected spiritually. And they claim their Baba is Shiva himself, not Shiva himself. Nowhere in the scriptures it is mentioned that Lord Shiva will come as Baba. Lord Shiva coming as Shankaracharya is mentioned, not as that Baba. So, but people have no understanding, or they just go and follow somebody or somewhere. They just follow. All it means is people are interested in spirituality. They are. And even in America, there's so many people have come from India, so many so-called yogis and Babajis. And even Americans, why Americans? All over the world, people follow them with great respect and hope and faith. Ultimately, everybody is sick and tired of this material. The fighting and the frustration, dissatisfaction, even in relationships or with our own health or material, financially. People want to get out of all this nonsense. They want the spiritual, proper spiritual path to follow. They want the proper guru. But since we get cheating gurus or cheaters, people get cheated, and then they lose all the faith, all hope, and everything. But life doesn't end here. Next life, they again start. And everybody is looking for the genuine guru. They just don't know where to look. Just like in America only, it happened. A few years back, members of a cult, and those members are very well off and educated, college degrees, postgraduate, PhDs, and very successful in their careers. So it came to the news that everybody, they all committed suicide at the same time. Well, police went and did their investigation and found some documents, some papers. What was it? That the cult leader had convinced them that this is a time when some astrological calculations are there, and if we die at this time, we'll go back to heaven. And to die at that time, well, only way possible was to commit suicide together. And they all commit, even the cult leader, they all died together. So the point is, yes, people are looking for the right thing. People are looking for right good. People are looking for some spiritual path. But being in Kali Yuga, being in touch with or following so many cheaters, then people lose faith. Lose faith, and at the same time they get cheated. Their lives are wasted, money is wasted in search for, they don't get the real thing. So that means we have to present the real thing properly. In fact, Prabhupada, when he was in India, the later part of his life, he said, just like the war of Mahabharata, it lasted only for 18 days. And in 18 days, so many people died. And Krishna brought everybody in Kurukshetra, all the demons, and got them killed over there. So Prabhupada said, if Prabhupada said, if I have only 100 fully surrendered Indians, we can preach all over the world in 18 days. And preach, and not just preach, convert them. In only 18 days. And it's been more than 50 years now. Means Prabhupada has still not found those 100 fully surrendered disciples. So it's not that easy to come to level of Prabhupada, to understand what he wants and to fully surrender. But at least we try. We keep on preaching. We keep on practicing and then preaching. And even if in our lifetime we help only one person become Krishna conscious, not even fully Krishna, just take up chanting and take it up seriously, that's even still better than nothing. Because people are looking, but they don't know where to look. They don't know whom to believe. Lord Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his discourses with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, Jivera nistara lagi sutra kaila vyas, mayavadi bhasha shunile, hai sarvanash. Vyasadeva composed a Vedanta Sutra to deliver the conditioned souls from this material world. But Shankaracharya, by presenting the Vedanta Sutra in his own way, has clearly done a great disservice to human society. For one who follows his Mayavad philosophy is doomed. In the Vedanta Sutra, devotional service is clearly indicated, but the Mayavadi philosophers refuse to accept the spiritual body of the Supreme Absolute Person and refuse to accept that the living entity has an individual existence separate from that of the Supreme Lord. Thus, they have created atheistic havoc all over the world. For such a conclusion is against the very nature of the transcendental process of pure devotion service. The Mayavadi philosophers' unrealizable ambition to become one with the Supreme through denying the existence of the personality of Godhead results in a most calamitous misrepresentation of spiritual knowledge. And one who follows this philosophy is doomed to remain perpetually in this material world. Therefore, the Mayavadis are called Avishuddha Buddhya, or unclean in knowledge, because they are unclean in knowledge. All their austerities and penances end in frustration. Thus, although they may be honored at first as very learned scholars, ultimately they descend to physical activities of politics, social work, etc. Instead of becoming one with the Supreme Lord, they again become one with these material activities. And thus in Bhagavatam it says, Aruya Kricharena Padam Padam Tat. In actuality, the Mayavadi philosophers very strictly follow the austerities and penances of spiritual life, and in this way are elevated to the impersonal Brahman platform. But due to their negligence of the lotus feet of the Lord, they again fall down to material existence. So this is what happens to Mayavadi philosophers or Mayavadi followers. Okay, I guess I can stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare
Prabhuji, in practical way, what is fully surrendered? Like if we try to gradually move towards it.
See, surrender means, just like we have seen the pictures of Pakistani soldiers who surrendered to Indian army in 1971 war, right? They surrendered. So surrendered means they gave up all their weapons, gave their independence, and we will do whatever Indian army says, right? That was surrender. So this is what surrender means. We'll not use our intelligence to do whatever I want to do. We'll use our intelligence to understand what Krishna wants us to do, and we'll do it. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, right? Two instructions that come to my mind. Man manabhav madvakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Just do these. And sarva dharman parityaja mamekam shanam praja. So surrender, fully surrender means he does only these things. Partial surrender means we do some of these and some of other things. And slowly, 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 when we get taste of Krishna conscious activities, then we do more and more because we enjoy it. Because surrender here is not exactly the same as Pakistani soldiers, because here Krishna maintains us nicely, Krishna protects his devotees, Krishna provides for them, and in the end, and in the process, they are very happy, devotees are happy, and Krishna is happy. And in the end, he takes devotees back to the spiritual world. So the process is very blissful, but it depends upon how much we are surrendered.
So Prabhuji, it includes like following all instructions and following regulative principles. Because Prabhuji, like sometime I think like small instruction like drinking tea or this, like initially we ignored, but in mind I think like, okay, we are chanting. So Prabhuji, all these things needs to be included in that. Like if we are surrendering.
Yes, but the most important of all this is chanting.
Okay.
That is the most important. That's the heart of surrender. That's the backbone of surrender. Everything is in chanting. If we are chanting, sooner or later other activities will follow. Don't worry about that much. Chanting. That's the most important.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Chalo, you all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhu.